I'm your host, Stephen Vander, here on the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. This is Dallas Cowboys Talk Line Weekly, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Doughty. You can find him on Twitter at No Remorse Sports. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Vanover. Before we get started, hit that notify button, slap that notify bell, or subscribe first, which actually makes much more sense. But let's get right to it. It's time to do some Cowboys Talk Line. Nate, it is New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys at home. What's happening?
What's happening is even more injuries than before. Tyrone Smith is going to miss possibly the remainder of the season with the neck injury, and I'm afraid that could be a career for him. He's been dealing with back and neck problems for years now. Hasn't played a full 16 games in a good 4 years. I think that's probably it for him. Even worse news, La'el Collins on the other side is going to be out for the season after getting hip surgery. So now we got two puppies on the both tackle positions. And to make matters worse, up in center, we have a fourth-round draft pick rookie going to be starting, and actually that's one of the better parts I feel about this.
Yeah, I'm not upset about that at all. I think that's the good news. I like this kid, and it frees Joe Looney up to be a swing guy along the inside, which I think he's excellent, well-suited to that. So we've actually got some nice talent on the inside. It's just out on the corners, on the edge, where, no big deal. It's a train wreck, man. It's a train. On the bright side, the Cowboys can now afford to sign Dak Prescott because they don't have to pay, they let Byron Jones walk. Here, Travis Frederick retired. Now Tyrone Smith retired. That's just brutal. Normally when you pick along the offensive line like that, sure, you're spending a high pick, but you're hoping for 10 years out of that guy. Man, the Cowboys did not get that with Travis Frederick, and it doesn't look like they're going to give it with Tyrone either, does it?
Yeah, they're just barely going to get the 10-year mark with him, but even with that, it's injury-riddled, and I don't know. I mean, at the end of this, it's going to be interesting because he was a guy who was arguably one of the best at his positions.
Yes.
And with these last few years being so injury-riddled, I think it really could take him out of Hall of Fame consideration.
It could and it should. I mean, it's not perhaps a popular take. I love the guy, man, and I hope that he can somehow come back. But, hey, you got to think about life after football. You have to think about life after football. So I don't blame the man. Support him whichever decision that he makes. He doesn't have anything to prove, if you ask me. He was a heck of a player and may still be able to. I hope that he is. I hope that he can come back. And then if he chooses not to, hey, that's on him. I got nothing but respect for the guy. But in the meantime, the Dallas Cowboys have to figure out how to play. I like Steele at right tackle, but he reminds me a lot of an early Doug Free. He doesn't have the natural strength, I believe, to play. He's still finding his footwork a little bit, so if the guy out there has a really good first step, he has a bit of a problem with him. And that's what happened last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, Myles Garrett absolutely abused him on the outside, and it ended up with him being benched. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the shifting of the offensive linemen, because if you remember in the Seattle game, they went and kicked out Zach Martin to right tackle, and that actually, you didn't hear from him that entire game. I mean, there was some way for Zach Martin to play three positions on the offensive line all at once, that would be fantastic.
Well, I think that's what they may actually do here, and that's what you could look for, is move him out to right tackle. Again, we talked about Looney can fill in admirably on the inside at three positions. I say you let Looney slide right in there into that guard position. Williams is getting better at left guard. I mean, has he had a few moments? Yeah, but he's also had a few moments of dominance. His run blocking has been excellent out there. And then left tackle,
Brandon Knight. Yeah, I mean, he's actually, considering the fact that he's a UDFA in his second year.
He's played well.
He's played well. But, I mean, here's the thing. Looney's going to miss the next few weeks because he dropped down the first play of last week. So we don't even have the luxury of sliding Looney in.
There is zero luxury. Okay, no, there is zero luxury.
Yeah, right.
But, that is what it is. Now, the Cowboys' offense has been doing phenomenally when you consider the fact that their offensive line has been a train wreck from the first play of the season. From the first play of the season, an offensive lineman went down, remember? So, boom. It hasn't gotten better. It's gotten progressively worse per game. And now when you think about that and still look at the numbers that Dak Prescott is putting up, that's freaking scary, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, considering the offense has so much pressure on them to be basically perfect, Dak Prescott's making some big dick throws out there. What can I say?
And his ability to dip out on, to the outside and extend plays. I mean, he's been, I hate to say it, been given the Tony Romo treatment. Hey, dude, you got to learn how to dip and weave and extend the play. Our offensive line sucks, so, just live with it. And they made a living, the Cowboys offense, 10 years doing that. It cost Tony Romo his career ultimately as his body just got beat up there. That's what Prescott's having to do right now. And you and I talked about last week how it was going to take 35 points to win the game. That wasn't right, because as good as the Dallas Cowboys offense is, the Dallas Cowboys defense is that much worse. And I think this is the ultimate test for them, because they're facing an offense led by Jason Garrett that has not done well. And I mean, this is either going to make Jason Garrett look really good or make Mike Nolan look really, really bad.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the Giants have scored 3 total touchdowns this entire season. They're averaging just over 10 points per game on offense. Well, on the other hand, the Cowboys give up about 3 touchdowns and a half on defense. So something's got to give. And ultimately,
the Giants offense, man, you got to cut them a little slack. I do. I was doing the Giants Weekly Show with Tom McAllister just yesterday. And when you look at it, you talk about, the Cowboys, how bad it's been for them losing their offensive tackles. Hey, the Giants started out with their one tackle opting out for the season. Okay, they're starting left tackle. So they've had to slide a rookie over there. They're starting a rookie at left tackle. Not necessarily what you want to be doing. And then they had to shuffle due to injuries and poor play. Their offensive line has shuffled as well. It's still better than it was last season, but it's an issue. And then they lost Saquon Barkley. So it's not like Jason Garrett has been done any favors here. With all of that, the Giants got a 100-yard running game out of Freeman last week. And that's the first time, I think, in, I don't know, about 8 years or something like that, the Giants have gotten 100 yards. So, I mean, it's not a cakewalk for the Dallas Cowboys defense here. They're going to have to come ready to play. And the only good news that I hear on the defensive front is that LVE is, quote unquote, closer than he was at this time last week, which tells us absolutely freaking nothing, doesn't it?
No, exactly. And apparently he's been warming up on the sideline. But, I mean, let's be honest. Collarbones are one of those things where if they're not healed, most things can re-break in a second. I mean, a la Tony Romo. If you remember a couple of years back, they had he broke it right as soon as he came back. Two
or one game, I forget, something like that. He re-broke it right away, and that ended his career. And got him, he had to give up the sport he loved and was forced to take tens of millions of dollars to sit in a booth and watch the sport that he loves. We feel so sorry for him. A moment of silence for Mr. Tony Romo having to endure this type of career move. Okay, we're done.
Tony Romo has a pretty sweet life, if you ask me. So.
It's just brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Just before we came on, I checked the spread, and the Cowboys are a 9-point favorite. I don't know if you and me, if we cloned ourselves, would the Cowboys deserve to be a 9-point favorite from what we could produce offensively. And let me tell you this much. If the Giants don't produce at least 20 points against this defense, something they have yet to do this entire season, I think you should take your pitchforks, slide on a bunch of red, white, and blue dildos and chase Jason Garrett out of town with that shit. That's unexcusable against the Dallas Cowboys defense right now. I
totally agree with you. And that's why I don't get the 9 points. When you said 9 points, I was like, they're only favoring the Giants by 9? And but it's the other way. And I tell you what, with the Giants' defense, let's slide back to that a little bit. Last week, they had Tyrone Smith, and Garrett slid over to the other side. Myles Garrett said, "Oh well, I don't want to play against Tyrone. I'm going to slide over here to this rookie Steele and just ate him for breakfast." The Giants don't have Myles Garrett, but they got some guys that are coming along. They've drafted okay. Their real pressure, I think, where they've been doing well is right up the middle, though. They've been collapsing the pocket. And if we move if we move Zach Martin to the outside, that weakens our inside. There's a rookie on the inside. And they've got Leonard Williams, they got a couple other guys, Lawrence, that are doing really well in there. I'm worried about pressure right up the gut, right in the middle. That's why I would like to see us back off the passing game somewhat and start getting the freaking running game going. That's what I think needs to happen. The problem is the Giants have been doing darn well against the run.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the game plan is. I mean, the Cowboys have ran a faster paced offense than anyone else in the league. They're averaging something about 2.5 plays per minute or something like that. It's a ridiculous pace they've been putting on teams.
And still losing time of possession, which is just freaky, which puts more pressure on the defense. So I don't think it's a winning formula. It's great if you're, like we are. We have Dak Prescott on our fantasy team, so I'm just, bring it, baby, go. But, I mean, this is like coming up on week 5, and Ezekiel Elliott's not had a 100-yard game yet?
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I've always been against is banging your head against the wall to try to force the running game. And for whatever reason, they haven't been able to get off a decent running game. And and you and I disagree on that because a running game, you've got to dedicate yourself to it. You've got to bang your head against the wall. You've got to say, I give Garrett credit. He was really good at establishing the run. Unfortunately, that's all he did. But all right, that's another conversation. And he knew that you had to run. You have to run and lose yards early so that you can run and get yards late until your offensive line gets dominant enough to where you can get yards early. The Cowboys right now do not have a dominant offensive line anymore. They do not. They're trying to survive, and that's why I think they're staying away from the run game, because they know that they can get yards in the passing game, but they're hoping to outscore the other team, and they're not doing that. So with that in mind, let's do the thing right here. All right, the offensive phase of the game, Cowboys should win that, right? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see how, even with a massive turnover differential, which is going to be interesting because both teams are in a surplus on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to turning the ball over. Yes. So even with the turnover surplus, I still expect the Cowboys to win that side of the ball.
All right, defense, a phase of the game. Is the Giants offense going to be the cure for the Cowboys defense, or is it the other way around?
No, the Giants, if there is a bright spot for the New York Giants, it has been their defense. So I expect them to win that side of the ball.
Okay, special teams.
Special teams, I don't know, it's hit or miss. I really don't think I'm going to go Cowboys here because I think they're going to win the game despite not beating the spread.
I hear you. So you think it's going to be close and the Cowboys are going to win, even though they're going to lose 2 of the 3 phases in the game. Here I am, and man, I hate myself doing this. I am actually picking the Giants in an upset. I think special teams will be the difference, and that is going to create the points that are going to have to happen late in the game that are going to bring the Giants back to win. Conversely, if the Cowboys defense shows up for some reason, I mean, after listening to Xavier Woods talk about, you don't give 100% on every play. It's the NFL. You go 70% on some plays, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, the Randy Moss treatment.
Oh, man. So after hearing that, and at that point, I'm just wondering how the former defensive coordinator, what he would have done if he would have heard this, okay?
Oh, yeah, a little old, what was the character's name in King of the Hill? Cotton Hill.
Yes.
Cotton Hill Marinelli.
Oh, man, he would have gone absolutely bat crap over that. And I wouldn't blame him. And Nolan's like, yeah, okay, that's kind of the way I coach too. So it's all right. We're going to end up in the middle of the league. No, you're not. Right now, you're at the bottom. I mean, the Cowboys ranked 34th out of 32 teams. That's how bad they are. They're not even last place. They're 2 places further down than last place. That's how bad they are in every statistical category. It's never been done.
Yeah. I mean, there's record. We're number 1 in that category, baby.
Go team. So it's a hot mess. But if they somehow decide to show up and play, and if Jalen Smith starts understanding what they're asking him to do, right now he's a step short. He's taking bad angles. His effort is there. I do not fault that young man on effort ever, but he looks confused out there. The whole thing's a hot mess. If that continues, I say Giants win. If they show up, Cowboys win in a blowout.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just going to be the way it is. And just the way the Cowboys have been operating this season, I don't know how to win. I don't know how you could favor them over a touchdown over anybody.
Yeah, that's freaky. That's freaky right now because they don't even seem like they want to play till the fourth quarter anyhow. So it's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least 1 for 4. They think this is baseball to where that might be a decent average.
All right, well, look, if you haven't done it yet, in the comments down below, please let us know who you think is going to win and why. Scores are great. Are they going to cover the spread? Are they not going to cover the spread? I tell you what, whichever it is, I'm taking the over. Okay. So,
yeah, no kidding.
Because both teams can score in this. I mean, can Jason Garrett's team actually score more than 20 points? If they do, if they score around 30, oh my goodness. That just turns the world upside down. All right, and if you have not done it yet, please hit that subscribe. Please hit that notify. Give us a retweet. Give us a like. All those great social media things. You can follow me on Twitter at Stephen Vanover. You can follow Mr. Nate Doughty at No Remorse Sports on Twitter. He's a great follow, you know that. And until next time, what do you do, Nate?
Listen like you play with intensity.
Go Cowboys.